Hey guys, what's up? Sando here, and today I'll be trying out a very small and cute gizmo that can work as a desktop DAC, as a Bluetooth receiver, as a Bluetooth sender. It's controllable via a smartphone app, which makes it so easy to set up. It's FiiO's latest BTA30 Pro that goes for 129 bucks, and it's time to check it out. Build quality wise, it looks exactly like the BTA30, so as you can see, it's small, it's cute, it's sleek looking, but feature-packed, twisty. For a higher Wi-Fi acceptance factor, you can actually disable these LEDs right here from that smartphone app, especially if you are intending on using it in the living room. I think that it looks quite stealthy, thanks to its matte black finish. So this is an aluminum top plate and everything else is made from high quality plastics. So considering its entry-level status, I really cannot complain about its build quality. As for controls, you have a mode switch that naturally lets you choose its working mode, so it's either a desktop DAC, a Bluetooth receiver, or a Bluetooth sender. It provides 3 digital inputs on its back as USB Type-C, optical, coaxial, so you can connect it even to a gaming console, to a stereo receiver, or directly to your TV. It can work as a digital transport too, since there is a coaxial and optical output. And lastly, you have a pair of RCA outputs. As for tech inside it, FiiO replaced that Unobtainium AKM chip with higher performance ES9038Q2M DAC chips that you can find in plenty of desktop DACs of today. Finally, there is an XMOS receiver on board, so we can now play higher sampler rates and even DSD files, which is great. This small fellow uses one of the best chipsets, more exactly the Qualcomm CSR8675 that I tried multiple times by now in many devices. So it supports all the nicest codecs as a sender but also as a receiver. So it has LDAC, aptX HD, aptX low latency, everything is already on board, which is great. Lastly, there's a DSP inside that can upsample your music up to 384 kHz. That will make your music slightly smoother and clearer. Of course, you can enable or disable that chip if you please. And that's pretty much everything that you need to know about the BTA30 Pro, and it's time to check it out how it actually sounds. I've used it in 3 different scenarios because I wanted to test everything that it has to offer. So first of all, it was working as a USB DAC, it was connected to that FiiO K5 Pro that was working only as an amplifier. Then it was working as a Bluetooth receiver, it was connected to my smartphone that was sending files, music via Tidal and Qobuz. It was connected to my amplifiers and then to my loudspeakers. And lastly, it was working as a sender and it was sending music directly to a pair of wireless ODZ Penrose planar magnetic headphones. So again, I've tested all possible scenarios so I can better feel its performance. As a USB DAC, it actually performed like a very simple Delta Sigma oversampling DAC that didn't try to alter the frequency range in any way, so it was quite linear, quite neutral sounding without boosting any particular range. To my surprise, it was quite clean, quite transparent sounding. It was not bright, warm, nothing like that, and it seems that FiiO went with reference tuning, with trying to make it as honest as possible without boosting any particular range. With nicer amplifiers, I was surprised that it was not limiting the sound stage and the transit response of my music, so it really performed like a well-made entry-level ESS Sabre DAC. It was quite detailed sounding, noise floor was always in check, thanks to that XMOS receiver. You should know that it's USB pass powered, meaning that you should use the rear ports of your PC because in theory those should be providing you a clearer and a more stable output. The biggest standouts for me was its detailed-oriented nature and its decently fast transit response. Some traits that can be associated with ESS Sabre converters, and if you tried such converters by now, you can definitely feel their character while listening to this one. So it doesn't have coupling caps, it doesn't have filtering capacitors, it doesn't have a big power supply. So you should lower your expectations when dynamics are trying to impress you with, with powerful bass notes. Yes, it sounds fast, yes, it sounds very nimble, but it will not deliver those thunderous bass notes like a well-made desktop DAC would do without flexing too much. All in all, it provided a good performance, and I never felt that dynamics were botched or that something was gravely missing from my music. Probably the most interesting feature is that you can connect it directly to your smartphone, and in that case it will work as a Bluetooth receiver. In that case, it can send analog signal via RCA to an amplifier, or it can send digital signal as optical, as coaxial, to a better sounding DAC. Now, if you have an old school stereo setup and you want to make it future-proof, sending tunes from your smartphone to this one and this one to your setup, you can do that pretty easily with the BTA30 Pro. When acting as a Bluetooth receiver, you can control all its features pretty easily via that FiiO Control app, where you can enable or disable its lights, its upsampling feature. You can select a desired Bluetooth codec, a digital filter that alters the treble roll-off past 20 kHz. You can change its volume level, and there are many other features which are quite interesting. Since it uses a big antenna as a wireless booster that you can see right here, no matter where I was located in the house, I couldn't lose its connection, so it was rock steady. Even at my balcony, I couldn't lose its connection. That was pretty amazing. Its LDAC codec sounded pretty great, very close to its wired connection, but I still preferred its wired connection, its USB connection. I'd say I was getting around 90% compared to that USB connection, which is more than enough when playing some tunes casually in the background or just playing some games on your TV. Lastly, I've used it as a sender and sending all that goodness to a pair of wireless Odyssey Penrose wireless headphones. And of course, since this antenna works both ways, as a sender and as a receiver, no matter where I was located, I wasn't really getting any hiccups. The signal was rock steady, so I was still rocking out around the house with these ones on my head and with this one staying in my office right here. Sometimes I'm cooking with headphones on my head, and it was so easily doing with this one on my head and this one in the office. That was pretty amazing. So Penrose, they sounded via LDAC coded very close to the wired mode, but still I prefer the wired mode. Via Bluetooth, it was making them a little softer sounding, a little rounding the frequency extreme, so I was getting a little less sub bass and a little less upper treble. Now, if you don't have a smart TV yet, you can make it slightly smarter with something like a device like this. So you can connect it via optical to your TV, and then you can connect this one to a pair of wireless headphones, and you can watch your favorite TV shows, some movies, play some games, with your headphones without bothering anyone in the house. Moving on to my conclusions, you are getting a feature-packed 4-in-1 device for as little as $129 that perform well in all possible scenarios. You are getting strong versatility in your headphone setup, stereo setup, with your TV, with your gaming console, with your wireless headphones, making it an absolute steal and a must-have accessory. Long story short, I wholeheartedly recommend the BTA30 Pro as a great gizmo around the house. Okay folks, I hope you enjoyed my review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as usual, listen to my tunes, be positive, and I'll see you around.